Happy good morning and happy second day of spring. I am Brienne from Zenful Mindings coming to you from my living room with my bed head and my cat right here that you can't see, but she's very excited to be sitting here getting some pets. And I wanted to just share with you an experience I had yesterday while I was on my mat that I think really exemplifies how we can use what we discover on the mat or through movement and breath and take it off of the mat into our everyday lives, and how these two things commingle and are entangled and have this very symbiotic, magical relationship. So it was the first day of spring yesterday, and some friends and I decided to do 108 sun salutations as like celebration and in honor of that. We did it for winter, the first day of winter also. And if you don't know what a sun salutation is, that's super cool. It's essentially this set of movements that you do, and you do the whole set, and that's one cycle. And then you do that cycle 108 times. And that can be quite a bit, and it takes a lot of time, and it can be strenuous. So last time for winter, I broke it up into 4 sets of 27 throughout the day, and I plan to do the same thing this time. So I set out in the morning, I did my first set of 27, but then I had to live my, non-yoga mat life, and I went and ran some errands, and traffic was crazy, like I was like nice, so everybody seemed to be on the road, and my errands took longer than I thought. Like I kind of meandered and didn't have urgency, that sort of thing. But I got home much later than I wanted to, and I had plans later, so I only had this very limited amount of time, and it almost became this like point of stress for me. But I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it anyway because it feels good, and et cetera, et cetera. So I started out to do my second set of 27, and I was doing it, and I felt really good. Like I felt like in the zone with it. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to do like another set with this one. I'm going to make it like one group to do like the second and third. And I was in it, and I was like really, really feeling it. Like I was just in it, and I was feeling so good about it. I decided to do the third set at the same time. So I ended up doing this giant group of 81 sun salutations at once, which for me was the first time I've ever done something like that. And it was absolutely magical. It's definitely not the thing that I think that everybody needs to do, but it was just so good because giving myself that moment, that chunk of time, which ended up actually not taking as long as I thought, taught me a few things. One, right, seizing that feeling, like recognizing that I was like in a really good space to do it, and it was better to do it then than to push it off till later, where I might like feel stressed and it would become a stressor for me because I like would have to try to cram it in. So I seized that moment because I was in a good space, but also because I spent a good bit of time practicing it. I had this sort of meditative, I don't want to call it a trance, but I got in this space that was wonderful, right? It was almost hard for me to describe. It was me moving with my breath. It was my body just knowing what it was doing because it was so repetitive, and it felt good. And while it was challenging, it really quieted my mind. I was hearing things like on the outside world, like people doing their lawn work, and I was noticing like the way the sun was coming in, like across the floor through the window, and it was just this magical moment, me and my breath and the sunlight and the outside world just kind of coexisting in this wonderful, breathy bubble of awesome. And it sort of reminded me of taking a long drive on an open road. And I love road trips so very much, but one of the things that I love, even if it's not a road trip, is when you're driving and you're not in city traffic like I was yesterday, but all of these things just sort of fall away, like the world falls away, and it's just you in this present moment without even trying, right? You hear like the road hum, or maybe you have music playing and it's just perfect for that moment. Your eyes are like on the road and you're watching like where your car is going and you're being mindful, but there's not a lot of outer distraction, and you just kind of one with everything, if that even makes sense. And I also took from it, right, this breaking of a pattern, which seems sort of funny since, sun salutations are a pattern. But for me, I broke a pattern where ahead of time I thought that's going to be really challenging. I'm going to break it up. And that would have been what I would normally do. But I did something out of the box, right? Because I seized that moment. I did something out of the box. I accomplished something, which that always makes me feel good. And I got a whole new different experience from a type of yoga that, to be honest with you, I don't really like that much. I might be changing my mind about that. Yesterday was a really good time with it. But I usually don't like the vinyasa yoga because it makes me feel very self-conscious about my breath and my pace, and I get a little too much in my head and judgy on myself. But that didn't happen yesterday. It wasn't at all like that. So I did something that was different with something that I was pretty familiar with, and I had this whole brand new experience. So what if we took that same approach to things in our everyday lives? Like, how often are we washing dishes or driving routes to work or to pick up our kids, or whatever it is that we normally do that we sort of do on autopilot? Can we find a way to find presence within it, right? And I guess it almost doesn't have to be this active, like finding presence, but just sinking into the rhythm of it and seeing what comes up for you. Because that's, I guess, the best way I can describe what happened yesterday, right? I sunk into it, and all of these things, while my mind was quiet, I had these epiphanies and this great, glorious experience for me that was wonderful. And I'm going to take that into my day today, right? The next day after. So I think that that's something that I learned that I really wanted to share with you. And if you have any questions or comments, please put them below. Share, and sharing is caring. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe, since this is a new endeavor. It helps me know if this is, resonating with anybody, and kind of gives me some encouragement if I should keep going or do other things. And I guess that's it for today. So happy second day of spring again. May your sun shine all of the brightest rays in all of existence. Have a beautiful day.